some more Division II players going pro. These guys getting a crack at the NFL. Wayne Kivati released a full list of Division II players going into training camps this fall in the NFL. So this is not current to date. I'm sure there have been some cuts made off of this list, but this is the list that we had to go off of. This was he published this just 5 days ago on the 26th. So, fellas, I guess we'll start with the teams that have the most Division II players. The Colts have 8. That is number one. There's 8 Division II players heading into training camp with the Colts. That does not mean all 8 of them will make the final 53-man or whatever, the roster. The Lions have 6. The Jets have 6. Chargers, Tampa Bay, and the Commanders all have 5 apiece. Then there's a plethora of teams, if you will, that have like 4 or 3, whatever. There's a good spattering. But 8 Division II guys heading into camp for the Indianapolis Colts, one of them being our very own Jake Witt, who got drafted this past year. As we know, another one of those guys being Dallas Flowers out of Pitt State. He's over there in Indy too.
Yeah, he is. He started a lot of games for them last year, honestly, and he was a big kick returner, a big punt returner. So I'd like to scratch him into the lineup, So like hopefully, at least one, and Jake. You know what I mean. So
yeah, it sounds like
Jake will probably
be
a practice squad
around.
guy. So that's obviously really good still. So that'd be good.
Totally, yeah, and a couple of other. Trying to think, look at some notable alums on this list, right? And guys that have been established. Talk about guys like Adam Thielen, who's in Carolina now. He was in Minnesota, but the Minnesota State wide receiver. We talked about Dallas Flowers. Austin Eckler on the Chargers. He's a Western Colorado guy. I did not know that actually until a little while back. I just never really realized that.
Yeah, I think I found out what year did he come in the league? He came in 20.
That's a good question. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't though.
But it wasn't.
It's probably like 2017, dude.
Oh, really?
2016.
I guess he
led the NFL in total touchdowns for, I believe, the second straight season this past year.
Bro,
so that's a pretty notable piece right there. And now with the market the way it is, he's a fantasy machine
that's
too. It's also noted. Yeah.
Like you can't pass up on Eckler at like 5. That's the thing, because Eckler will get to 5, I think.
Yeah. Another big time, Tyreek Hill in Miami, out of West Alabama.
Yeah.
That's one I don't think a lot of people talk about that one.
Because he wasn't Tyreek Hill at West Alabama. That's why.
Absolutely.
Wait.
First team All-Pro last year for the Dolphins.
Did he go to West Alabama before or after Oklahoma State? Wasn't he at Oklahoma State?
He went there before. Then transferred to Oklahoma State for his senior year, I think.
That could be it. Not sure off the top of my head, to be honest. Yeah,
okay.
We can fact check it too if you'd like.
Yeah, check it. Actually,
a couple Ferris State alums. Zach Sealer, also in Miami. We saw him have that fumble return for a touchdown. Was that
Christmas?
That was Christmas, wasn't it? Yeah,
that
was a big play.
Right?
I remember him make. It could be.
Yeah,
I'm not sure 100%. And then Tavier Thomas in Houston, another Ferris State alum there. Yeah, the defensive back. He had a big pick 6 last year. I remember seeing that clip circulate around a little bit. C.J. Ham in Minnesota. He's going into maybe his 7th year in the league right now. He's been a captain, I think, the last couple seasons for the Vikings. He's from Augustana in South Dakota in that Northern Sun, the NSIC. And then you got another great one I think that a lot of people think about, probably because he's from Grand Valley State. That's Matthew Judon in New England. Yeah. That's a dude who has a lot of All-Pro awards. He's certainly stacked up quite the career for himself and carved out, not just with the Patriots, obviously. He's with Baltimore, correct, for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
he broke out in the Patriots, though.
He did. He definitely did. Now, when it comes to positions of these guys, there's about 86 total. What do we think the number one position is of all the Division II guys that made it or have made it to chances, training opportunities with these NFL teams? I wanted to ask both you guys. Offensive lineman is your pick?
I was focused on Tyreek Hill and have no idea what you're asking.
What do you think out of all these guys, there's about 86 of them, what do you think the number one position is out of all them going into camp, out of the D2 guys?
Probably, he said O-line?
Yeah, he did O-line.
I'm going to say D-line.
I would have said O-line too before this.
DBs?
It's wide receivers.
Okay.
Wow.
Wide receivers. There were 20 wide receivers on this list, fellas. DBs had 17, offensive linemen 14, defensive linemen 11. That's actually your top 4.
Because honestly, I just took what position has the most players at it.
That's actually a really good point too.
Offensive line, defensive line. So.
And you can't coach size.
Right. And that's the thing, like Jake Witt. There's probably 2 or 3 other Jake Witts out there. You know what I mean? Not actually you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
He's superior, but
his case, of just being an absolute specimen, being that size, having that athleticism, having these intangibles and these tangibles that you cannot coach. It doesn't matter what level you come from.
I really do see wide receivers because think about it, dude. There's so many freaking wide receivers that are so talented.
Yes.
So talented, bro. And a lot of the times, like the difference between D1 and D2 skills are not, you know what I mean, a step or two. You know what I mean? It's not, or grades. Like it really does come down to that. Like some guys just fall to the D2 level that have like legit NFL talent.
Yep.
And that's not a you know,
not
a jack in the box,
Yeah.
right? That's like it's real.
Absolutely. We saw a couple wide receivers this past year actually get picked up by some NFL teams. A couple of those being Dereke Young from Lenore-Rhyne, John Hall from Northwood. Both of them are actually with the Seahawks. So two wide receivers going there. And then I'm trying to think. I thought there was one more potentially that from this past year, but I'm kind of blanking. I do remember Keelan Harris from Oklahoma Baptist. I think he might have been the year before. But I'm trying to find him on this list here. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that wide receiver position is very interesting because you're right. There's so many just talented playmakers all over the place, and
think
that's like
about
a
how
super.
many, like,
David Durden, there it is. David Durden from the Cowboys
Yeah.
from West Florida. That was a pick in this past year. As
Think
well.
about how many guys, like how many wide receivers got drafted late rounds that have been so good.
Yeah.
Like think about it. Like that's just there's not a shortage of receivers. That's why like I really don't think, you know what I mean, like there's a lot of good receivers. They're not irreplaceable.
I think
they're not irreplaceable. I mean, obviously Jettas, you know, you can't replace.
I think the skill difference between your starting wide receiver and your third string wide receiver is a lot closer together than like your starting left tackle and your third string left tackle.
Absolutely. Right. Like what's depending on the squad, actually, depending on the system, what's a bigger impact if number one goes down? I would be with you that left tackle spot way more.
Yeah.
100%.
Also, Tyreek Hill was at Garden City Community College for 2 years. Then Oklahoma State. Then West Alabama.
Wow. Interesting. But they can still claim him as an alum, I guess, because that was his last year, maybe?
Yeah. And he was also more of a running back at West Alabama.
Look at you finding the facts. Interesting.
He had more rushing yards than receiving yards.
Could have been like a Debo type situation.
He just didn't do much at Oklahoma State. He just didn't get the ball much. He didn't he had kick return. He had a sick ass punt return. I remember watching.
Oh, yeah, it was the kick returner and punt returner at West Alabama.
Either way,
too.
obviously worked out for him. We talked about it. 17 DBs. I think defensive backs, offensive linemen. We talked about it a lot. Is a premium on it right now. We just talked with Trey last episode about what that position is doing right now in the NFL, and he said it every year. There are so many defensive backs taken off that board because it is at a premium. We talk about the wide receivers, the absolute depth of talent in that pool because everyone and their brother wants to be a wide receiver, I think.
I mean, it's realistically the hardest position to play. And
because you have to guard them. And if you can guard them, there's a premium on being able to stop that part of the game.
You have to have the best hips, the best feet, a very good knowledge of the game, a very good feel for where the ball is going to be. Like, it's really like you have one bad year as a corner and you're automatically, this guy needs to get the hell out of our
black sheep.
Get the hell out of our fucking room. You know what I mean? Like Amani Aruarie. Like he had one and he was done.
He did a pretty good job of that name pronunciation on the quick. That was pretty good.
Like, you know what I mean? Like same thing with Okudah, dude. He's a third overall pick. He had one shit year, and then this year it was just like he never didn't make any
injury
progress.
Bug had a part to play with that too.
And now it's just like, okay, we upgraded. Yeah. Quote unquote upgraded but he was our third overall pick. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like Jerry Jacobs even, dude. He had one good year. Now look, he's in the mix.
Injury Bug too though.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure it happens to other teams. You know
a lot
of
that is recency bias. When you talk about like media and other like fans and things, like when you talk about recency bias is a very real thing. Like with Jerry and with Okudah, like those type of guys, when you miss a lot of playing time, all of a sudden you're not at the forefront of people's brains, and they are so quick to freaking write you off.
Well, then,
think about even Jalen Ramsey. People don't think of him as an elite corner anymore.
That's the thing. On the opposite side of the poll, Sauce Gardner just got in the league, and me personally, I do not think Sauce is the best corner in the league because I think if you really watch a tape, like 3-1 is clear. Him or Pat Surtain are clear-cut best cornerbacks in the league. But like, think about it. Sauce just got in the league. They have him power ranked as the number one corner in the NFL. Yeah. Like that's how much it just like
recency bias.
You're locked down. You're good. You get beat for 1,100 yards one year or 800 yards one year. You might as well go give me my McChicken at McDonald's. Like, you know what I mean? Like
it helps that, again, you have the year that he had. Obviously, he played fantastically. You have a nickname like Sauce. You make all these headlines. You play in a very big market team. Mm-hmm. If Sauce goes to Green Bay, we're not having this conversation.
And everyone wants to shit on Asante Samuel. He's right.
Yes.
Like, he really is right. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? And Darrelle Revis is, or whatever his name was, he was beefing with.
That was an interesting Twitter.
Not Darrelle Revis. Charles Woodson.
Yeah, I think it was Woodson. Yeah. Other positions, though. Division II players getting chances at NFL camps. We've got 8 linebackers, 8 running backs. And then we kind of get into some of the nitty-gritty. 3 tight ends, 2 long snappers, a kicker, a punter, and 1 quarterback.
The kicker's from Shepherd, right?
The kicker is from Wingate. That was
he
Ethan Evans, the one that got drafted
right
this past
Witt.
year to the Rams.
Yeah, right before Witt.
Yes, that was the one that was lifting the heinous amount of weight.
Yeah.
That was fucking absurd. 1 quarterback. And that was this year. That's Tyson Bagent. He was a Harlan Hill winner that's the one at Shepherd that you had thought of. But the quarterback from Shepherd, he is with the Bears currently. And I guess we'll see if he sticks around. That'd be very interesting because he's got arm talent. He can move very well. Maybe he doesn't have the frame, but he's no like Josh Allen or anything, obviously, though he's kind of an anomaly, excuse me.
Crazier shit's happened.
It has. It definitely has. And again,
maybe he'll
Harlan Hill trophy winner. You can make some shit work over there. What'd you say?
Maybe he'll beat out Justin Fields. I'm just hoping Jimmy's listening to this episode tomorrow and hearing me say that.
Tomorrow? You might get a text right now because his Spidey sense went off. What are you talking about tomorrow?
His Fields sense.
Yeah. Jimmy isn't the only one high on Fields, dude. I've seen these Bears fans are coming out of the woodwork. I didn't know there was this many in the world.
There shouldn't be.
A lot of it's just a lot of talk for 3 wins. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot.
A couple of these guys, especially the guys that were on the squad last year, got themselves a ring. That being Jody Fortson from Valdosta State, the tight end. This will be his 2nd year, I do believe. He's a guy that I believe has battled the injury bug a little bit. Potentially he has played a decent amount and could potentially see a lot more time for them this year, especially if Kelsey keeps punching motherfuckers in practice. Then he might get out into the field a little more.
He got to be on some shit, bro.
Joshua Williams too.
The game like really like
yeah.
That, though.
Joshua Williams, the defensive back out of Fayetteville State, is another one that I think has actually seen a little bit of time. He's a freak athlete for the Chiefs. They are D2 product, but that was kind of the piece, fellas.
Yeah, good.
That's pretty neat stuff. Yeah, great. Shout out Wayne. He does a lot of good work, and him just going through the nitty gritty of I think he looked at just every single NFL roster.